Bermuda Triangle is well known south and east of Florida, but southwest Nebraska has its own Bermuda Triangle of insanity and craziness. But unlike the waters that hide the truth from all that look and try to find it, in Nebraska the graveyard hides the truth, and not until the day of judgment will we be able to find out the truth of all that is unknown in southwest Nebraska. One of the strange things in southwest Nebraska that to many of us is as strange as anything in the Bermuda Triangle is the government paying farmers not to grow crops by the tens of thousands of acres while the world is starving, why America is importing 40% of its food from other nations. They pay farmers not to grow crops. It's an insane world we live in, and rest assured that the Bermuda Triangle has nothing on southwest Nebraska. The clothes ain't quite dry yet, so we'll give them another couple hours. While I'm here, though, I'll give you a story. One of the stranger stories in the Bermuda Triangle of southwest Nebraska. It made, in fact, national and international news. A well-respected United States newscaster on the radio, Paul Harvey, even spoke of this suicide. Now you'd say, what's the big deal? Hundreds, if not thousands, of people commit suicide every day. So what was unusual about this one? Well, specifically, it was an old lady in her late 70s here in McCook, committed suicide, they said. Now, the way she committed suicide, well, she stabbed herself. Oh, by the way, she also shot herself. And then she hung herself. And she set her house on fire. Oh, by the way, she did this with her hands tied behind her back. Suicide. Got another suicide I can tell you about. How about a gentleman that they found dead? His pickup had run over him. Oh, it happens once in a blue moon that a pickup can get away from a guy or break loose and run over a guy. However, this pickup had went over him back and forth 3 or 4 times, and then it had driven up on top of the body with its tire still on top of the body, and the pickup, it was in park. And there's only one way a vehicle is in park, and that's if somebody puts it there. And they called it a suicide. Yeah, there's a lot of suicides in southwest Nebraska. How about the valley some distance west of McCook? Had 11 families lived there 100 years ago. But of that, 5 families had suicides. Of the 11 that lived there, 5 had suicides. And from women and men committed suicide there. That's got to be some kind of a record. Nobody ever looked into whys and the reasons for. But suicide is a big part of the Bermuda Triangle of questions that are just not answered, and it'd sure be nice to know some of those answers. Pretty good looking tomatoes. Well, you want another story? Okay. How about this one? In some years back, there were 2 small boys. They were brothers in this area, southwest Nebraska. These 2 small boys went down to the sand pit. They went with an older friend, boy, and the older boy, he wanted to see what it looked like to see somebody drowned. Yeah, ooh. And so he pushed the littlest of the 2 brothers in the sand pit, and they stood there and watched him drown, because the older boy, the older brother, wasn't old enough to really know how to swim or save anybody, and so they just stood there and watched that little boy drown. It was a terrible event. And, however, they did nothing to the older boy. With that in mind, some years later, the surviving brother was hunting with that boy. and they went out hunting and near that sand pit, and the older boy took his shotgun and put it up against that boy's chest and pulled the trigger and killed him. A shotgun makes a hell of a mess at point-blank range. He told the authorities he didn't know the gun was loaded. But what are the odds of a young man drowning one brother and then shooting the other one at point blank in the chest? They did nothing to him. You talk about strange, that's one of them.